Hey guys, this is Dylan from Flight Performance and Fitness. Today we're going to talk about training through pain, specifically anterior knee pain. So we're going to use Vinny as a subject here. So dealing with training through pain, we're going to deal with it a bunch of different ways. We're going to use the squat as an example. So let's give me a couple squats here. So before I do anything, first off, I'm just going to check his technique. So make sure he's not doing one of these guys, where we're just really shifting our weight all into the joint. If that's the case, if you're coaching somebody, you see that happening, I'm not surprised, no matter what the load is, that their knees are bothering them. So first off, I'm just going to kind of cue him to set the weight up a little bit more towards his midfoot to start, and really pull himself down so that weight stays in the midfoot the whole time, and he's being real active with his legs. So after we do that, if we do, we've done some coaching, technique looks all set. You're all set, we can rack this up. So assuming technique's good, next thing I'm going to do is strip down some volume. So studies show that overall volume and then spikes in volume are going to be the main things that are going to contribute to pain. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is just take that off, keep the exercise, kind of see how the body reacts to that. And sometimes that's all I need, the pain will go away. If that's not the case, what we're going to do is we're going to strip off a little bit of the load, a little bit of intensity. We're going to have him do some tempo work. So I'm going to have Vinny do a 3-second eccentric and a 2-second pause. So normal position, let's set that weight in the middle of the foot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, driving up. So what this is going to do, first of all, it's going to force him to use a lighter load, which is with this kind of thing, if we're stressing the joint too much, it's probably a good thing. Second thing it's going to do is he's going to get a lot of feedback. So if he's driving all his weight, doing that knee bend squat that we talked about, he's going to feel it immediately because of how slow he's going with it. He can't drop down into it and just kind of use that rebound or whatever. So immediately he's going to feel it, and he's going to have to be active that whole time. Just a lot of time under tension. So we'll just give him a lot of feedback for where he is. Should get him better at that motion. So let's say we do some tempo work, he's still feeling that knee pain. Next thing we're going to do is change the biomechanics of it. Change some angles, shift the load to some different muscles. So we're going to come at it with a box squat here. Do that right there. And with this box squat, I'm going to cue him to sit back a little bit more. So we're going to take the load away from the knee joint a little bit and shift it more towards the hamstring and the glutes. You can see how much less shin angle there is there. Basically, a more vertical shin, the less stress is going to be on the knee. Good rule. So this can allow him to still train the squat pattern to potentially, high intensity with just putting a little less stress on the joint. And hopefully, we could progress back to doing without the box. Let's just say we still do that, still getting some knee pain. We're just going to kind of dumb down the exercise a little bit. We're going to regress. We're going to go to this heel wedge squat. So the heel wedge is just going to put him in a better position to be stacked with his core and allow him to sit into a pretty deep range of motion without having to drive his weight forward. So it takes away the need for having a whole lot of dorsiflexion. A lot of people struggle with their ankle mobility. So this is going to allow him to stay stacked, get good range of motion, and hopefully own that position as far as where the weight is in his foot and whether he's being active the whole time. So two things you'll see a lot with that, if he's still feeling some pain, a lot of times what we'll see is either he's still not being active, he's not really truly pulling down, or he doesn't feel comfortable sitting back enough. So, the weight's just kind of still leaning forward a little bit. He's not using his legs to really push up. So we're going to use two different kind of tools for that to kind of fix that. First thing we're going to do is what we call a band hamstring feedback squat. So we're going to have him pull the bands right around his heels. So we want enough tension that it's pulling him a little bit, not so much that he has to kind of lean back with it. What we're going to do here is cue him to pull against the bands, root his feet, grip the floor, and pull down. So just standing here, you should feel a little tension with his hamstring because he kind of has to activate them to stand upright. So we should get a lot of what we want as far as that weight staying in the middle the whole time. So the other thing I was talking about is, not really pushing, not using the legs to come up, not feeling comfortable sitting back. this TKE squat will kind of do a little bit of both there. So because the band's right behind his knees, and he feels that tension, should allow him to stay a little more upright with his torso, sit back into it, but if the band's being around, are also going to cue that knee drive forward, which is what we want out of that squat. And then I'm going to cue him to extend hard against that band coming up. So leg press on the floor, extending against that band. That's going to get that quad activation, staying active the whole time, not going to the joint. So with these tools, we might use those as accessories while, say, I'm having him do that box squat variation. Or, if all those things are still causing pain, that might be the main load. So that might be his main lift. We're using that tool to really solidify things and make sure we're staying pain-free, but still training hard, still progressing.